Hi, everybody. Meteorologist Joe Cioffi. Welcome to Weather in 5 on this Monday, the 22nd of July, 2019. And of course, we have just come off a very, very hot and humid weekend. Temperatures that were between 95 and 100, and humidity levels that were very high, heat indices that were sitting over 110. Well, that is now coming to an end. Some places had as many as 5 consecutive days of 90-degree plus highs. Other places only had two. So, from the standpoint of a quote unquote heat wave, this was not really that big a deal. You look back at weather history across our area from northeastern Virginia to southern New England, we've had heat waves go as long as 10 days to 2 weeks or more without a break. So this was really absolutely a minimal blip. Now we're going to be dealing with flash flooding and severe weather as a cold front moves on through. So let's start off with forecast rainfall amounts, and they're going to be on the order of 1 to as much as 3 inches. The Weather Service forecasts here are generally in the inch and a half to 2.25 inch zone from northeast Virginia all the way up into southern New England. But I think there's room for some upside here. We have an absolutely saturated air mass that's sitting overhead with these ridiculous dew points that are up into the 70s, the solid tropical air, and a pretty good cold front with 2 waves of low pressure and a nice upper air trough that's going to be producing all this. Slow moving, which is another ingredient you're going to see when you deal with flash flooding. So I think there's room for some upside, particularly because we're going to be having some thunderstorms in the mix, and that always allows for some variability. So look for some places to wind up with 2 or 3 inches of rain, and the flash flood risk is there, with flash flood watches up also from northeastern Virginia through Maryland, south central, southeastern Pennsylvania, all of New Jersey to New York City, western Long Island, and into the Hudson Valley. I would expect that we could wind up seeing those flash flood watches being pushed further to the east. And we also are not seeing a big surprise. This is not a big surprise here from the Storm Prediction Center, which we talked about the fact that the marginal risk for severe weather would likely be increased. And you'll notice on the map above there that we are now sitting with a slight risk of severe weather from northeast Virginia on up through all of southern New England. So that adds in the possibility of strong gusty winds and maybe some hail into the mix. And of course, when you have these strong weather systems, these cold fronts this time of year and all this tropical air, a rotation or two that develops in there would not be a surprise. And the Weather Prediction Center, which deals with rainfall, has a fairly elevated area of moderate risk for flash flooding for much of our region away from the coast, but even the slight risk area is pretty large and covers everybody. So we seem to be lined up pretty well with all of this. So here's what's going to happen. As we move into this afternoon, we have this cold front that's approaching and will be on top of us. The first of 2 waves will be going by, and that will produce 1 round of showers and thunderstorms. I really wouldn't focus too much on what the model specifically is showing where the radar is supposed to be late today, because when it comes to the short range stuff, it's really a matter of following the radars more than anything else. And you just wait to see what develops and where it develops and you go from there. But the first wave will go by. There'll be a second impulse that will come through overnight into Tuesday morning, and that could linger a while into the early afternoon. It might take a little bit of time to get all of this out of the way. That second wave has to go by, and then finally Tuesday night into Wednesday, we should see this all push offshore. The payoff is that high pressure and dry air come in for Wednesday and Thursday, and we might be able to hold on to these lower dew points into Friday before we start to bring in the humidity back. And then it's back to hot and humid weather for this coming weekend. So as far as the rest of today is concerned, look for deteriorating weather conditions. There's not much going on the radar, and there won't be until we get into the early to mid-afternoon, and then we should see it really gel up considerably. Temperatures today are not going to be getting out of the 80s. and that's a big switch from the weekend. So the 90 plus stuff is done. And then as far as Tuesday is concerned, much of the area will be in the 70s all day because of the clouds and the lingering downpours of rain that could last through the morning and in some places into the early afternoon. And then back to sunshine and highs mostly low and mid 80s for our area, for the area from Northeast Virginia to southern New England for Wednesday, and then we'll push it up a little bit on Thursday, and then we'll get up back up to the 80s to maybe close to 90 on Friday. So time to get a break from the heat. That will be getting underway. Thanks for being here this morning on Weather in 5. You can follow the severe weather along as it develops later today on my free weather app. So you can download that on Google Play or on the App Store. Just search meteorologist Joe Cioffi or just plain old Joe Cioffi. Have a good day, and we will see you later with website posts, app updates, and much more.